Hi, my kith and kin. This is Gloria Ndoro-Mkombachoto. Welcome to another episode of It Heartfelt with Gloria. Sit down, relax, but always comment and most importantly, subscribe to the channel. Hello, my kith and kin. My name is Gloria Ndoro-Mkombachoto. My YouTube family, welcome to another episode of It Heartfelt with Gloria. This is the Kith and Kin Nation. If you are not already subscribed to this podcast, It Heartfelt with Gloria, please find it on YouTube and subscribe to the channel. Today, we are talking about what we spoke about in our last series on entrepreneurship. The topic is, why have most Black businesses failed to become intergenerational businesses? We are talking about a great-grandfather having started a business, then the grandfather or one of the daughters in that family takes it over, and your father or your aunt takes over the business, and you are also looking forward to acquire competencies to work in that business and take it to a whole new level. One of the issues we raised the first time we spoke on entrepreneurship was, yes, there are some multi-million-dollar businesses inching towards the billions, and we already know that Econet is already a billion-dollar company. But on a per capita basis, why do we have so few Black-owned conglomerates or businesses with multi-million-dollar turnovers? We then asked the fundamental question that says, are racial differences in family-owned businesses enough to explain why Black-owned businesses lag substantially behind either white-owned businesses? It could be Italian-owned businesses or Indian or Jewish, but it would seem that Black-owned businesses lag substantially behind any other nationality-owned businesses in terms of sales turnover, even in terms of idea generation, in terms of profits, in terms of employment size, in terms of survival probabilities that eventually lead them to create intergenerational businesses. So let's talk a bit about some of the issues that Black businesses find themselves in. I'm going to lump them together. I could have separated the macro and the micro issues, or what you would refer to as the internal and external issues, but I've decided let's just talk about them all together. The first one is research. The little bit of research that is available, but also even borrowing for some of the research that has been done on Black people in the diaspora, for example, the African Americans. Research indicates that Black business owners have a relatively disadvantaged family business background compared to their white business owner counterparts. What does this really mean if we were to break it down? Most Black people, they were born in families where the only career of choice was to work for other people. Entrepreneurship wasn't encouraged. You went to school, you got your qualification or your trade, and you went and simply worked for other people. Number two, one of the issues that are coming up that are visible when you interrogate Black businesses is Black business owners. We are talking about the new ones, the ones that are coming onto the market. Black business owners are much less likely than white business owners to have had a self-employed family member owner prior to starting their business, and therefore are less likely to have worked in that family member's business. So when your aunts and your uncles and those who are close to you have never set businesses, it means that you were not exposed to business life and less likely as a result to have worked in a business of either a family member or somebody related to that family through friendship. Number 3, the lack of prior work experience in a family business amongst Black business owners has limited their acquisition of general and specific business competencies, negatively affecting Black business outcomes. So essentially, what we are saying here is Black businesses go into businesses and they are jumping into the deep end head first without knowing how to swim. They make up the rules as they go along because of what we discussed in point 1, 2, and 3, the fact that there is lack of exposure around starting businesses, running businesses, and growing those businesses. I'll give you an example of a conversation I had recently with a gentleman who does carpentry for me. I was asking him about his business prospects and how business was doing. He focuses mainly on roofing. And he told me that his business was booming because every time he does a job, he does it with his whole heart. And therefore, most of his business is coming through word of mouth. And he was doing extremely well, and he's been taking a lot of his profits and plowing them into real estate. He's been buying land, and he hopes in the future that he's going to build rental units and make passive income from rental income. But he said, he calls me mom. He says, but mom, I sometimes feel very dejected. And I said, why? And he said, my counterparts laugh at me because they are also making money, but they are buying expensive cars and I'm still driving a Honda Fit, and they laugh at me. And I told him that their opinion of you is none of your business. You are on a good strategy. Your agenda is very clear. It's a progressive agenda. Follow it. Never follow what people are telling you, because they are going to be leading you astray. Now, item number 5 is, because there is no history of entrepreneurship in most Black families, when one dares to enter business, there is hardly any familial support. Never mind the financial support needed. The emotional support and cheerleading is virtually non-existent in Black families. Then number 5 is lack of capital. A lot of startups who are Black are always highlighting the fact that there is no capital to start a business. For me, there is a caveat to this issue. I'm a great believer in bootstrapping. Start with what you have, where you are. In fact, if you start with money, you are likely going to lose that money because of your inexperience. So when you are starting a business, look around at the stuff that you've got and work within your means with what you've got and grow from that. There will be no wastage when you've got nothing to waste. You are also less likely to make costly decisions when money is readily available to you. People often forget that these big conglomerates we've been talking about of today started off as small businesses from home. I'll give an example of Microsoft. Microsoft is now a global technology giant, but it was started in a garage at home. Microsoft is now worth over 400 billion and has been ruling the technology market for decades now, making Bill Gates one of the world's richest men. Take Amazon. Amazon is now the world's largest online retailer, yet Amazon was once an online bookstore, which started in Jeff Bezos' garage after he quit his successful Wall Street job in 1994. It might have taken Bezos a whole year to sell his first book online, but the business soon grew and Amazon is now valued at 300 billion, making it one of the most successful and biggest companies in the world. Take Apple. Apple's first ever office was actually in Steve Jobs' mom's garage, his mom's garage in California. Steve Wozniak built Apple's first computer in 1976 and sold it for 500. And when a local retailer demanded 50 computers, Wozniak and Jobs found the components and built 50 computers in 30 days. All we can say is the rest is history, but right now the company is valued at a cool $550 billion. Then Google, for example, possibly the company that is the most well-known for starting out in a garage, by Larry Page and Sergey Brin. They started this company in September 1998 in the current YouTube CEO, Susan Wojcicki's garage. It started off as a college project at Stanford University, but Google is still the biggest internet giant 20 years later. Today, the company is now valued at worth over 500 billion. Harley-Davidson, to those who like motorbikes. Did you know that the first ever Harley-Davidson bike was built in a wooden shed at home? William Harley always wanted to build motorbikes. And as a 20-year-old, he came up with a design of an engine that could power a bicycle. Give it a couple of years, and William and his childhood friend Arthur Davidson would build their first motorcycle in a wooden shed. The pair formally launched Harley-Davidson in 1903, and the company right now is still in existence. It's a premium company and worth over 10 billion. Then Disney, the media conglomerate that we know today, had very humble beginnings too. Walt Disney and his brother started filming the Alice comedies in their uncle's garage in 1923. A few months later, the brothers moved into a bigger studio in town, down street from their uncle's home, where they signed a deal with Universal Studios. And the rest, it's history now. So start small. No one ever died from starting small. Do not be put under pressure by relatives and friends asking where your offices are. They tend to do that. Asking where your offices are to put pressure on you to go and rent offices that you can't afford. I'm declaring here now that you can literally run a conglomerate from home. It's okay to not have adequate capital, because bootstrapping will get you there. Also, when you approach financial institutions, this is item number 6, they always want to give you loans based on you having collateral. And most people, black people, when they are starting, they are young, they have not amassed enough wealth to have the collateral needed by financial institutions, and it's then difficult for them to access that funding. And then the last point I would like to talk about is the lack of an enabling infrastructure. The majority of black entrepreneurs have been found recently in the sub-region to be concentrating on buying and selling without venturing or even trying to revive the manufacturing sector, because they just do not have the enabling infrastructure. Also, when we classify government support in creating an enabling environment for businesses to thrive, that support has been lacking, and it's part of this lack of enabling infrastructure which black businesses find themselves in. We are going to continue with this series in the future, but for today, this is all we could discuss. If you have not subscribed to our YouTube channel, find it. It's at Heartfelt with Gloria, and subscribe, and we see you next time. Thank you. I hope you've enjoyed the episode of today. It's very important that you share with us your comments about what we are sharing with you, but most importantly, some of the issues that you might feel are not being covered with our podcast or other podcasts. But please do not forget to subscribe. That will inform us in giving you more value in the future. Thank you.